Day 43 of my 30-day van conversion challenge. Today I'm doing the overhead cupboards. Before I started on those, I attached the last two cabinet fronts that I had painted. The first one is just to cover the top part of the sink so it doesn't need to open, and I'm using brackets to attach it. The top part isn't very easy to screw into because of the sink, so I'm using these sticky things to hold it up in place on the top. Next up was the sink door. I accidentally brought sprung hinges for this and I've never used them before, so I wanted to see how they worked. I didn't think they'd work too well for the sink cupboard, so I switched to unsprung ones. Doors are so much easier to line up than drawers. I'm using these easy mount hinges where if you only screw in two of the holes, then you can adjust it afterwards. So that's what I did. I started installing the hinges and then lined it up perfectly and then screwed in the rest of the screws. Next, I added the magnets and the door handle, and then it was time to move on to the overhead cupboards. I used some cardboard to start creating a template for the side pieces. Once I was happy enough with this, I transferred it to wood and cut it out so I could really see what it looked like. I had to keep checking and adjusting it for a while until I was happy with it. Then I checked that they fitted in all of the places where I needed a side piece and started cutting them out. The two middle pieces needed to be 12mm shorter, and then I started to cut out the bottom piece. I wanted to cut part of this at an angle so that it would fit seamlessly with the side pieces. I've never done this with a plunge saw before, so I was a bit nervous, and I did do a test run, but it worked out fine and it worked really well. I cut the rest of the pieces that I needed, added pocket holes everywhere that they needed to be, and then started to sand the pieces ready to build it. I thought this was going to be a pain to build, but I actually found it quite easy. I had to adjust some of the pocket holes so that the screws wouldn't end up being in the same place, and then the unit was finished and I could see how it looked in the van. I've entered the night with more painting so I can install the rest of the cabinet fronts tomorrow. This is how the van's looking at the end of day 43, and I'll be back tomorrow with day 44.